tough new laws being considered by the Indonesian government making unmarried sex illegal.
Indonesia's national parliament.
Unmarried couples travelling to Indonesia, though, under these changes could find themselves, if they are caught having sex, behind bars. It is
Alright, what is going on YouTube user? This Heartbroken Biker. I was working on my Bali travel series videos, and that important episode when I was in Bali, and a lot of tourists were scrambling around. They didn't want to be in Bali at that time. It was a state of really bad news about Bali because of the volcano, and everybody was cancelling their tickets. And that has been 2 years. While I'm working on that video, and yes, I know my videos are late, while I'm working on that video, there is a new law that is getting passed in Bali, because of which a lot of Australians, I'm just quoting the news, a lot of Australians, a lot of Kiwis, as in the people from New Zealand, are cancelling their tickets, their travel plans to Bali in thousands, because Bali government is gonna pass a rule which will which will make it illegal if they're not married as a couple. It'll make it illegal for them to have sex. That's right, you heard this. It is about sex, a topic I didn't think I will ever want to make, but it's one of those weird topics where a travel plan is being, or a travel plan of thousands are being jeopardized by this weird rule where you cannot have sex. That's what it says, or does it? And so for that, this video is gonna be a discussion. I'm gonna call in my friend from Bali. He's a moto vlogger, Bule Doyan Motor. You must have seen him in episode 3 of my Bali series, I believe, or episode 4, I can't remember. You should go through the playlist. But he decided that he will help us so that you can be informed about this and plan your Bali trip. Alright, what's up, Bule Doyan? How are you, man? Long time.
I'm nice. I'm very good. Thank you. How is United States treating you?
Pretty good so far, yeah. By the way, congratulations on your 7,000 subscribers. That's the first thing I wanna address in this video.
Thank you.
And if you guys want to watch more vlog from Bali, go and check out his channel.
Thanks, man.
Sweet. So, Bule Doyan, so I needed you on this video to help me out with this video about Bali travel. I am reading the news, just like you helped me out last time when I came to Bali about the volcano. The volcano news was all over the place, and people were cancelling their tickets out of fear of Mount Agung blowing up, which is the video I'm still just working on the edit. It's going to be a long 30-minute video of trekking Mount Agung, but that's what I'm working on. And the news, I was just looking at the news, and I figured out there is a new scare in Bali right now with and it's a weird one though. It's not a volcano that burst this time. It is about you not popping your volcanoes in Bali.
Well, it's nice. You can say it. Yeah, you can say it this way.
So the news about sex ban, they call it. That's how the news guys are titling it, sex ban in Bali, where tourists can come to Bali and they cannot have sex. My questions are: is it safe for tourists? What is the actual rule? And who is monitoring if the tourists are having sex or not?
The law, I think that there is a big confusion going out around here. And especially it was coming from the news media from Australia.
Oh yeah.
That's basically, I will say that one of the majority of the tourists in Bali are people coming from Australia. And I think that they are making a confusion there. This law is actually a law in Indonesia that is not really new. It's a very conservative country, and I can understand that they try to ban sex before getting married. It has to do with religion and everything, so it's quite normal. Basically, on the Indonesian soil, and especially in Bali, they consider that everybody should follow the law. which makes sense. There's no problem. And that law say that intercourse between two persons can be considered as adultery if they are not married. But in that case, who can report you? Because this is actually the question. Like you want to make a trip in Bali, you want to come here for vacation, and you are not married. Well, there is no problem, because you can book in any hotel. Because the only people that can file a complaint about it is your parents, or your kids, or your husband, or your wife. So that makes sense.
Oh, so
it's
that's
actually,
in the rule. So that's in the rule that if somebody like your parents, husband, or your wife has to complain, only then are you
Yes.
accountable. So if they are not around, if you don't have one.
So the Banja are the chief of the village, and they could report you saying that you are doing something immoral, that you are living together or doing something, being in the same room without being married. But they cannot persecute you if, let's say that the chief of the village make a report, but then your parents are aware of it. So in that case, this case cannot go to court. So basically, they will ask your parents if they are okay with it. And as your parents are not in Indonesia, that's why I don't see how this problem can touch the tourists. The tourists, they are not in Indonesia, and their parents are not in Indonesia. So basically, you can do whatever you want.
Okay, I have like few questions then. So first of all, when the tourists come in, like I know that a lot of tourists come in as a couple. I really don't care whether they are married or not. I also came in as a couple over there. So the question is, will the hotels deny them a room, like a place to stay, or whatever the booking? Will they honor the booking
No.
or cancel the booking? Two, if they are in there, is there going to be any problem from the locals, like a mob or something that trouble the couple in the market or something, saying that asking them for a proof, or does the hotel ask them for a proof? Could cops get involved? What is the future for these travel couples, especially the Instagram travel couples that come to Bali? Because Instagram is the whole reason for travel.
But you had other issue with Instagram. You had recently a couple that were blamed for taking picture or making a video with holy water. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes.
It was a couple, and they were in a holy place, and they cleaned their body with the water.
He's actually putting it very delicately. They cleaned their butt with holy water, if I'm not wrong. Is that right?
Yes, but they did it. Yeah, it's right, but they didn't knew it was holy water. So basically, they just had to present apologies, and that was done. What you have to know is that even if Indonesia look like United States in one way, it's because it's made of 17,000 islands approximately. So. And it's several states and with governor. Like Bali has its own rules and its own governor. Bali is Hinduist in the biggest Muslim country, so it's very different. It's more tolerant, I will say, and it's more free to be in Bali because you don't have so much rules except to follow the culture and tradition of Hinduism, which is completely normal. It's their place. You have to follow their belief. And I've been here for 13 years in Indonesia, so I know how to adapt myself to rules. I've been 8 years in Jakarta, in Java, where the majority was Muslim. I'm even Muslim myself. I mean, I had to convert myself. I converted myself to get married. So
wait, Stephen is a Muslim. You converted yourself to get married?
Yes, I did. I was a Christian, Catholic, and I convert myself to Islam to get married with my wife, because in Indonesia you have to get married with the same religion. Two people from different religion cannot get married together. So one of the person in the couple have to make one step forward to the religion of the other. So in my case, the easiest way was me to convert myself to Islam, but I'm not practicing it. So it's I found it very free. It's actually a country that is very tolerant because they accept They accept you and they don't ask you too many questions. Still, religion is something that is private. It just look to yourself. And I will say that Bali is an exception in all of that because Bali is Hinduist. So basically, in here, the religion, that's why we call it the island of the gods. In plural, because it's the island of the gods, because Hinduist has several gods.
Right. So give me 1 second. I have to play with these lights.
Okay.
These are auto turn off lights. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Back to the call. Sorry. Yeah.
I always say that Bali is a huge exception because this is the only place in Indonesia where you have Hinduism majority at 90%. Bali is 90% Hinduist. Hindu. So Bali is 90% Hindu. You have to know that the governor of Bali, who is Hindu, he made a official statement on TV, on Indonesian TV, saying that this will not concern the tourists in Bali, and please, tourists in Bali, continue to come because we will not bother you in Bali. They are clever enough to know that such a sex ban, like they said, will ruin the tourism in Indonesia. What people do in the privacy of their own room or what people do in the privacy of their own life doesn't regard anyone. This is private and nobody will ever bother you for that.
So, but I was reading these news articles where they said, all the tourists are also subjected to this rule and you may have to...
How do you want to implement it?
Sorry.
I mean, how do you want to implement it? That means that they will have to ask the question at the immigration to every people that look like they are in couple. Like, do you know what I mean? Like you are coming from the same flight, and people will ask you, well, are you together? If you say no, this is how they want to filter the people that enter that are married or not. It's not possible to do that.
Oh, I was wondering if it happens at the hotels while checking in, or I don't know anything about if there is a mob culture in Bali where certain locals will do they trouble foreigners anytime? I don't know.
I will say not in Bali. I hate to say it, but I will say that this rule, this actual rule, is coming from the majority, which is the majority of Indonesia is Islam. So I think that this rule to have a sex ban before marriage is coming from that majority. But we are in Bali where the majority is Hindu. So basically they will just tell you, well, do whatever you want. I mean, I'm coming from France, I'm a French guy.
Okay, in his defense, he's a French guy, he's moved to Bali and he lives there and he's converted to Islam to marry his wife, so he must love his wife a lot. We were talking about this, I remember when I was there in Bali, and I asked you that a lot of people were perplexed when the one of the majority question that comes in Bali, anybody asks a traveler, are you from India? Because obviously I look Indian. I say yeah, and then are you Hindu? That's the second question. That's a guaranteed second question. Are you Hindu? And first few times I answered no, I don't follow any religion, and they were like, what? And then I remember you told me that you cannot be an atheist or an agnostic in Bali. Is that right?
It's taboo. If you want, this is taboo. So there is things that you cannot say in here. That's it. There is things that unfortunately you cannot say in here. But like I wanted to tell you that I'm French, so therefore my mother was Catholic, Christian Catholic, and she was very Catholic. She was from Poland. So in my culture, even normally, I'm not supposed to have sex before wedding. I mean, it's coming from most of the religion.
Man, I don't know which culture allows you to do that. I want to sign up for that.
But actually come to Bali because everybody knows that Bali is about freedom. You will hear among the Indonesians that Bali is the place where you can most of the time do whatever you want. as long as you don't disturb people, that's always the same. And as I'm a French guy, you know how close I'm to human rights. You know, like your freedom stop where the freedom of someone else starts. So you have to be careful of what you do. You can do whatever you want as long as you don't hurt people. It just makes sense. It's just common sense, actually. So I don't think you should worry about the sex ban about Indonesia, and it will not touch the tourists. The Bali governor has been very clear about it. There will be no problem for tourists to come in Indonesia. And as you should know, because I can see all Bali from my office. This is my office.
He's got a beautiful view from his home office. You know, I wish I had that. I have the view of the Seattle downtown now. You know, long ass buildings. You know, I don't like buildings.
Yeah, I saw some of your picture on Instagram, man. I mean, you have a nice view where you are.
Well, urban jungle versus you know, the nature view that you have. You know, I don't think there is.
I prefer the jungle. I prefer the jungle. I prefer the tropical, the tropics. I'm under the tropics. I love it. But what I wanted to say is, right now there is actually demonstration right now, and there is people in the street right now making demonstration about that law, saying what happened between my leg doesn't have anything to do with the government. So you can feel that it's really a democratic country, because you have actually right now you have demonstration right now with people with big signs saying what happened between my leg is my own privacy.
Yeah, you don't have control on what I have here and what I do with it.
So don't worry about that. You should not worry to come to Bali because of that. Nobody will ever bother you with what you do between the what we call midnight and the sheet, like we say in France. We say it's your own privacy. What happened?
Or the mornings are pretty good. You know, Bali has good swimming pools and all.
Or what I say always, I say, well, if you are afraid to book a hotel room, well, just book a villa. Then you will have your own privacy. Nobody will ever bother you with that.
And the villas in Bali are like beautiful for a budget I couldn't even imagine when I was there. I was like, how can this thing cost so less? Like, that's beautiful with a private pool. It's only like 5 villas with private pool. And that's crazy. That was very beautiful.
So how do you want, I'm going to ask you the question, as you have been to Bali, how do you want them to implement the rule? There is no way they can implement that rule, because that means that they will have to go, they will have to go and check. We have 7 million tourists a year.
They have to knock 7 million doors. Hey, you guys having sex? No, we're just having breakfast, man. In the middle of the night, okay. Yeah, so what I think is, if Bali stayed the way it is, which is like pretty open, and when I was in Bali too, it was very multicultural and very, you know, I didn't feel like strange any place. Although, yeah, there were like a few questions because there was inquisitive Bali people, like which country, are you Hindu and all that. And after that, they don't bother you. They kind of offer you help or the services. Do you want a bike? Do you want to see new places? And Balinese people have been very welcome. We've kind of seen that all along, you know. Not just in the city, even in Mount Batur, the people were so welcoming over there. So I think if Bali...
It's actually part of their culture. Indonesian, as soon as you arrive, they will ask you, where are you from? What religion are you? Because this is very important for them. As you say, you cannot really say that you're atheist or agnostic or apatheist. And where you come from, where you're going to go, where do you stay? All those questions pop up, but it's just to make a contact with you. And for sure, as a Westerner, when I heard the first time people, like, I was thinking, like, why they ask me all those questions?
Yeah, why do you need to know?
But actually, it's always done with a smile, and you can feel it's because they are really interested in you, and that's, I will say, the biggest quality of people in this country is that the first thing you see is a smile. I mean, I'm French. If you go to Paris, the first thing you will see, I doubt it will be a smile.
Yeah, that's one good thing about Bali. So what I think is, if this rule does not, if the government can give out a clear statement and the locals can understand that this rule does not concern tourists, doesn't apply to tourists, and then government can work their own ways with the locals whether to implement or not, depending on the protests and all. But I don't think the tourists should ever come under the umbrella of this rule, because this is a personal space, you know. Apart from that, obviously there are other rules that tourists need to bother about, is figure out which places are holy and what not to do there, because we've had, I believe last time there was, apart from that Bali water thing incident, you know, tourists washing their body parts with holy water. Apart from that, there was one more incident, I don't know if that was Bali or Malaysia, wherein tourists went on a sacred mountain and then went topless, which was not allowed, and they were arrested. I don't remember where that one was, but weird things do happen in Bali too, right? Like you.
But it's just like you even had worse with the tourists. We had actually, it was 2 or 3 years ago, we had tourists get caught making love in a temple. So can you imagine? It's just like if you were like in Europe or in the United States and you catch couple making love in a church. It will have the same reaction. It will have the same reaction.
I don't understand how you know, the educated foreigners miss out that point, that you know this place could be holy. If you're going there and you know the vibe, you know there are flowers, there's that, you know, it's not a place for your I mean, surely you can feel romantic, but it's not your place to start banging. I don't know, but you know, I don't know how they miss that, and other simple rules which get them in trouble. But I was surprised when I came to Bali. The amount of temples in such a small island is crazy, and they had way more gods, statues, sculptures, and actually very beautifully carved ones. I was very impressed, and me being an agnostic, super impressed by, you know, by the way they have made it up. But you know, I think religion all gets weird depending on who translates things, you know. So
You know that I will have to cut that part on my part of the video, because you cannot say on YouTube that what you say. You cannot say it. That you are an agnostic. You cannot say that on public media, social media in Indonesia.
oh, but in Indonesia, right? On my video is like my channel. I'm based in US. Can I do it?
Oh yeah, you on your part of the video, no problem. But me, if I post it, I will have to cut that part.
No, but I don't live in Indonesia. Why do you have to cut that part?
But because I live in Indonesia.
Right, but the guy who is saying I could be anything, right? From any other part of the world.
Yeah, but I cannot. I will have to censor it on my channel, because my channel is in Indonesia.
Wow, crazy, huh? Crazy.
This proposition of law didn't pass yet, because even the actual president, Joko Widodo, decided to review again those articles, because he even said, okay, I will not sign those laws because they have to review it.
Okay.
I think that what happened, I think that some influencer, political influencer at the parliament, they tried to pass those laws without the president to really read about it. But as the people reacted, and that's how it shows you that it's really a democracy.
Democracy, yeah.
As the people react in the street and they say, whoa, is what you want to do, now the president put a stop at the signature of those laws, which is very good. I mean, that just proves you that it's a democracy, because when people are not happy in the street, they say it openly, and the president take act.
That's something I believe these days in my country is going backwards. But anyway, so back to
I think, if you want my point of view, all the country are going backward, but they all become nationalist. But well, hopefully, guys like you and me, we are friends, and we can talk about things. And you are an immigrant. I'm an immigrant because I am a French immigrant in Indonesia, in Bali, and you are
Indian immigrant in
Indian
USA
immigrant
now.
in United States.
Yeah.
Only the fact to call you an Indian is quite weird, because we both know that for American culture
that means red Indians. Yeah. That's what it means here. Like, you know, when people get confused, when I meet people, so which country are you from? I'm an Indian. When I say I'm an Indian, They go like this. So, but you don't look like. I'm like, wait a second. I'm an East Indian. That's how they understand the East Indian, and the actual natives of here are called Red Indians or Native Americans. That's the term. So back to the topic. I just want to have a closure on this topic. So tourist, is it safe to go to Bali? There is no questions. Nobody's going to knock your door and ask you whether you banned or not. That's not going to happen. It's probably not possible by the numbers too. And Bali is going to be open, and president is taking some. Is that governor or president?
I mean, you have the governor of Bali that clearly say that it will not concern the tourists in Bali, and the president now is telling, okay, we have to review those laws because we cannot force people that are coming as tourists to respect. I mean, they have to respect the basic law of Indonesia, but we cannot push them to respect those rules that will not apply to them. There is actually much more problem that we have in here, and especially motorcycle related. I see too many people coming in Indonesia riding motorcycle, tourists I'm talking about, that don't even have a driving license.
Forget driving, they don't know how to control the motorcycle, they don't know how to drive.
Yes.
They get cheap motorbikes for really cheap and then especially when you convert currency from the West or anywhere, even from the East like Australia, to Balinese currency, the Indonesian rupiah, it's really crazy, and then they can get powerful bikes for cheap, and they are out there riding in their pajamas, shorts, slippers, helmets dangling on the, or even those shitty helmets that they wear,
In bikinis, you see, I have picture and I have video of women riding motorcycle in bikinis. They never rode a bike in their life. They arrive in Bali, it costs $7. It costs $7 a day to rent a bike, a motorcycle. And they ride it without driving license, without clothes, without proper protection gear, whatever, not even with a helmet. And when they have a problem, when they have a crash, they make a GoFundMe, and then to pay the hospital bill. So because they don't have insurance as well. So it's just like, I see much more crazy things in here in Bali.
Yeah, that's one more thing about GoFundMe.
What happened in the bedroom in the hotel room.
That's one more thing about GoFundMe and these tourists. I don't like. See, I would love to fund somebody who has tried their best and been right most of the time and fallen in an unfortunate situation, than folks who take life like, really, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want without actually caring for consequences, and then when consequence happens, I'm gonna raise a GoFundMe to get money to help me out. That's something I really don't.
I will say that's the main issue. And recently we had some problem. I think that actually the law that they tried to pass, it's because recently we had other big problem in Bali. We had some foreigner coming from Australia or from other country, foreigner, bule, like they say, because I'm called bule because that's how people call the white people. They call us bule because bule mean actually albinos. So they call us the albinos. So there is some bule guys coming for vacation that were attacking and fighting local in the street. What? So actually, I think that that's exactly what raised some ban or some law about it. Is because recently, I will send you the link of that video so you can post it. It's very interesting to see that. It was viral in here. We will see a white guy running and kicking, making high kick to motorcyclists, local motorcyclists, until he fell down and trying to throw himself under a car. It was a nightmare. They tried to make... and that's why the governor of Bali even reacts, saying that we don't want cheap tourists anymore. Because those guys were troublemaker. All those guys also from Australia that were actually pissing, they were going to pee in the street,
Damn.
like and showing their butt and everything. It was a nightmare.
This fucker should be fined, man. These fuckers should be fined in Australian dollars in 5 digits. That's what they should. That's what they should do.
Or like we say, we should put them in the cheapest hotel of Bali, which is Hotel Krobokan, which is the prison of Krobokan. Pay them a stay in the cheapest hotel, Hotel K, like we say, and maybe they will think about what they do. I mean, if you go as a tourist in any country, you have to respect the rule where you are going. It just makes sense.
It's weird, you know. I stayed in Denpasar for Kuta, right? Kuta for a day, and I couldn't take it anymore. It's all that the party. I mean, party is great, but then the getting super drunk, party culture, and then not having control on yourself and wreaking havoc on the streets like this. This is where I find nature sides of Bali. Like, guys, if you go to Bali, like, Kuta is not the only place, and I said this in my first vlog of this series too. Go, you know, away, you know, like, go north, go south, go west, east. There is so much beauty in Bali, and I think Buladeyan, you're making a new series. So after you're done with my series, and parallelly you can watch his series. He's on his new. By the way, congratulations on your new bike too, the Versys X250 or X300.
I love
X250.
X250. Actually, it's in Indonesia, it's a 250.
So you're enjoying the bike though. So go watch out those series. He's making long rides right from south to north in like a day or two, and showing up good places. I wish I could be in Bali for longer time and I could show all the volcanoes. So I also watch his vlogs to see those
you will come back
and all this. Huh?
You will come back, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
day.
I will come back because I
sure.
have to ride a bike on the volcano.
You know what? I just said to my wife when I said that we will make that video together. I said to my wife, you know what? Now I have a friend in Seattle, so if one day I want to ride over there, I know where to go.
You're always welcome, man. Mi casa, it's su casa. Okay, so you're always welcome. Just
thank you. Same thing for you, man. If you want to come to Bali, you are welcome.
Thanks, man. So I want to wrap up the video. Tourists are safe. You can get to Bali. Australians, Kiwis. My light's also gone out. Nobody's gonna care when your lights go out. What you do in Bali, nobody's gonna care.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you will see. I mean, Bali is a true paradise. I mean, it's a true paradise. I feel the freedom that I miss in my home country. I mean, I was watching your vlog, you know, when you arrive at night in Kintamani. I know, I was laughing because when I watch your video, I know exactly the road, and I'm thinking, oh my God, he was in this road at night. He's crazy. This road is so dangerous.
You're the only guy who probably understands what that road is like, you know, out of all my viewers out there, because, you know, you have to ride that road to understand that it may look simple and normal, like horseshoe bends, but it is crazy, you know, and especially with that Honda Vario.
You know what we're saying here also, to finish also this video, if you can ride a bike in Bali and in Indonesia, you can ride anywhere, and I can be sure that you can say the same about India.
India, Vietnam, Bali. this is all the places. Jakarta too, you know, if you ride, you can ride pretty much. And it took me a day to get accustomed to riding in US. It is so good here, so good. Like, I know there are people who break the rules, but nothing compared to what happens in, you know, our countries.
But I want to know, is it for United States you're going to take that bike?
I saw that bike first in Bali when I came there.
Yes.
And because it was pretty much launched recently, and I fell in love with it, and people who watch my vlogs very carefully know which bike it is, or will know which bike it is, because I missed test riding that one bike over there. And I test rode the other bikes that I wanted to, and you set me up with them, and thanks for that. So that one bike was on my mind all the time I was in India for the next 2 years. When I came here, I'm not going to say anything anymore. That'll be for the next video. Thank you for joining. Heartbroken Biker and Buladeyan Motor signing off. Sayonara.
Sayonara. Bye-bye.